Our intro music is provided by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com.
You're listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Well, thank you, John, but like I keep telling you, not the best, but we're trying to improve. In the news, well, NASA spent $830 million on the new lander that landed on the moon, and you know what? They're hearing storm sounds and dust storms going across the Mars. So that's for $830 million, that's something cool. Marlboro Corporation, well, just invested $1.8 million or billion dollars. Why am I saying million tonight? $1.8 billion in guess what industry? Hey, the marijuana. Naturally, they probably figure people are going to quit smoking cigarettes and start smoking joints. Well, the U.S. job growth is really slowing down. Well, I knew that when the tariffs were all placed on, that the ripple effect would be, affecting job growth, and it's already starting to do it. Housing sales have already slowed down. So, they still keep saying that it's a major chance that our country can start going in a recession here by the second quarter of 2019. Well, our guest tonight is Kevin Coolidge talking about, some paranormal books he's written for children. He'll be on right after this.
Please check out the Night Dreams Talk Radio website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Also, if you want to keep our show free of advertising, just hit the donate button. Give a buck or two. Remember, all prior shows are always free to listen to. We at Night Dreams Talk Radio thank you for your support.
And we do. Check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Check out our gallery of our past guests and some other interesting pictures. And while you're on there, donate a buck or two to help pay the cost of the servers. Anyway, Kevin, how are you doing? And what's the weather like in your location?
I'm doing great tonight. The weather it's definitely seasonal. It's a little cold out there tonight. It's around, we had a high of about 30 tonight, and it's supposed to get down to about 18 degrees. So winter is upon us here.
Oh, yeah.
North Central Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I have to get up early in the morning to take my daughter to work. And I'll tell you, the last couple of days up here at the harbor in Giggle Harbor, Washington, I'll tell you, it's been really, really chilly. And it's actually colder this time of year than it was last year. So I don't know what's going on with the climate. All I know is it's really messed up.
It is.
Now, we're getting a little feedback. Do you have something playing there in the background?
No, I don't. I'm on a landline, so I'm not sure why we're getting the feedback tonight.
Okay. Well, hey, why don't you tell everybody what you do, and then we'll get into, these great books you write for children.
Well, I own and operate a small bookstore in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania with my wife, and I am a children's author. I am the creator of the Totally Ninja Raccoons, which are about 3 raccoon brothers who decide to become ninjas because they already have the mask.
Well, when you get a free mask attached to your body, I guess so.
It's one of the things I like. One of the basis of the series is that you just have to go. Sometimes you have to go with your strengths. So raccoons are clever. They have those dexterous little hands. They already have masks. And some people like to think of them as thieves, but why be a thief when you can be a ninja?
Oh,
and
yeah.
so they chose the path to be ninjas.
Well, I have to tell you, I got a copy, what you sent me, the Totally Ninja Raccoons Meet Bigfoot. Now, my grandchildren were up here visiting for Thanksgiving, and naturally, of all the books I have in here, they're all written, from scientists onward, for adults. But they actually saw that book sitting in the bookcase there displayed. And I tell you, every one of them was reading the book, taking turns, arguing, who's going to read it? Who's going to read it? And they all loved it.
Well, I love to hear that, because what I did is I basically wrote a book that I would like to read when I was age. I mean, I have a lot of fun writing them, and I believe that comes across when children read them. And like the first in the Totally Ninja Raccoons is the Totally Ninja Raccoons Meet Bigfoot. That's the first book, and that sets up the premise for the entire series. And one of the reasons why I chose Bigfoot, and I use cryptids and paranormal, I use a lot of history and folklore of Pennsylvania. I live in Pennsylvania. The books are set in Pennsylvania, and I use a lot of the local folklore. I use cryptids. The cryptids I use have either been sighted in Pennsylvania or have ties into Pennsylvania right now. There's 8 books in the series, and there's werewolves, there are thunderbirds, there are the Jersey Devil, which the Jersey Devil is a cryptid known for the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, but he's also been seen in parts of Pennsylvania. And these, in each book, the Totally Ninja Raccoons meet a cryptid. And one of my goals with the series is, you've seen the book, is Bigfoot. I have kind of a different, the cryptids aren't always scary. They're a little scary, but not too scary. And usually it turns out to be not as scary as what you think they would. Like, for example, my Bigfoot is he's friendly. He is they're in the first one, the Total Ninja Raccoons. Now, what do you do once you're a ninja? Well, you need a ninja job, right?
Well, I sure hope so.
So the Totally Ninja Raccoons answer an ad in the paper looking for a job. And they meet Gypsy the cat, who is head of the cat board. Now, I love cats, but if you have cats, you've probably suspected that cats want to take over the world.
Well, they want to take control of my house, I can say that much.
They do. That's where it starts. It starts with your house, and then then they want to expand out beyond that. So Gypsy is head of the cat board, which is this secret organization of cats who want to take over the world. So Gypsy the cat sends the raccoons on their first ninja mission to capture Bigfoot. Because, now, Gypsy doesn't tell them this, but Gypsy wants to use Bigfoot's powers of stealth in her quest for world domination. And so the Totally Ninja Raccoons capture Bigfoot, but then they find out that he's not such a bad guy, he's not so scary, and then Gypsy double-crosses the raccoons. So they end up letting Bigfoot go. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but I want to let people know a little bit about the books. And one of the things is that kids are really enjoying these books. I mean, I have 8 books in the series, and I wouldn't have written more if the kids weren't really enjoying them.
Well, that's one thing. Like my grandkids noticed. Like I was talking to them. There's not many books written like this today. I mean, there still isn't. And the paranormal thing is really hot. So anything like with UFOs or Bigfoot or Mothman or whatever, okay? Kids, are, because they hear their parents talking about that stuff, they just latch on to it.
They do, and there's, the unknown and the encrypted have always been a draw for me when I was a kid. That's one of the reasons why I chose Bigfoot, is I always enjoyed reading about Bigfoot and wondering just what's out there in the woods. Bigfoot has, of course, the term Bigfoot comes from the Pacific Northwest, but there's local terms for Bigfoot. I use the term Bigfoot, but in Pennsylvania, some common terms for Bigfoot are Old Man of the Woods or the Hide Behind. So each state, well, of course, I'm sure your viewers know, each state has its own Bigfoot, and he's been seen in every state in the Union, in every country. Different civilizations have their own version of Bigfoot, and it's something that both kids and parents enjoy. And actually, when I started writing these, my target audience is children who really enjoy them. But actually, I have several adults who buy them for themselves too, because they're fun. At the end of each book, I put a little bit about the cryptid, and so that the child can read up on him, like a little bit of information, and then I encourage the children to read more, because of course I don't want the children. One of my goals with this series is not just for the children to read my books, which of course I want, but I want them to read other books. These are to get children interested in reading and to expand their mind and to, for them to make up their own minds. So, for example, at the end I put, is Bigfoot real? well, read about them a little bit more and decide for yourself. That's, so what I really am encouraging is curiosity and to read books of all types.
I'm sitting here looking at on page 30 of your book, on the Bigfoot one, and it's kind of an interesting picture. I take that's the Bigfoot, that hairy little creature with a big nose and huge feet.
Yes. So once they capture Bigfoot, they're like Bigfoot. They capture Bigfoot. They put out a snare for him, and they use birch beer and some other things to capture Bigfoot. And when they capture him, they're like, help me down. And it's like, well, we're looking for Bigfoot. They're like, I am Bigfoot. And they're like, we thought you'd be taller. He's like, I'm Bigfoot, not Tallfoot.
Yeah, it was kind of, because I'm used to seeing pictures, and actually in life of Bigfoot being, big. In this case here, you took it the opposite. You made, Bigfoot like a dwarf, no offense, with huge feet. So it does kind of fit Bigfoot.
Yeah, so I wanted something a little bit of a spin, but of course, Bigfoot, we all start off like small at one time. So sometimes, once we get to our age, it's like you forget that you were a child, or one time you had to have help getting a glass out of the cupboard. But an 8 foot Bigfoot, an 8 foot tall Bigfoot didn't start off that way.
No, I guess they would start out just like we would start out. So
I thought I would put something a little bit friendlier and having this Bigfoot that the raccoons meet, not the tall stereotypical Bigfoot that a lot of people that he's depicted at. And of course, you can be not so tall and have big feet, and make something a little bit funnier and a little bit more child friendly and some laughs and that. But of course, like I said, Bigfoot wouldn't necessarily start off at 8 foot tall.
No, I guess they would start out like a little kid and work their way up. But what I find so interesting about your books is that the way, like I said, my grandchildren, they really loved it. And, I was talking to, my son and my daughter and all this stuff, we're over for Thanksgiving with their kids. And they said that's the problem. When they go to the library or they go to a store looking, for books for their kids to read, I mean, it's all the normal type of books. And they said that, they actually are going to order some from you on here too, because they were really intrigued that how their kids just sat down there and read it, and versus just looking at a couple pages and then tossing it off on the couch.
No, that was my goal with this book, is to make something that children want to read. Because this came out of my personal experience of being a child, but it also comes out of, I've been in the book business for over 12 years, and so I talk to a lot of kids and see what they want to read. And sometimes when a parent picks out a book, or what an industry, sometimes it's